is the Jim and Terry Show, coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in downtown Bobcaygeon. I'm your host, Terry, and my co-host, my Jim and Terry Show co-host, is not here in the studio, attending some family business. Congratulations to his grandson graduating. So we're celebrating and worth not occupying the chair in the corner with all the creepy crawlies and the spiderwebby underbelly of the house, the basement. Lots of scary stuff to talk about, and we're going to begin with a book that I have been working my way through called Justice and the Politics of Difference. Not indifference, politics of difference. And I guess the core premise in that book is that if justice is really about treating people the same, everybody gets exactly the same treatment before the law, before the police, before the justice system, that really is a form of injustice because we are not, in fact, on a level playing field. All the people that make up our society in a pluralistic society are not treated equally, whether it's poverty that separates us, whether it's education levels that separate us, whether it is the color of our skin, our intellect, or challenges for our abilities, whether those are physical challenges or mental challenges. We are not the same, and the principle of justice requires that we examine those differences, the politics and justice of difference, to make sure that people are treated fairly, not equally, not necessarily equally, but the outcome would be equally applied, meaning we have to take all sorts of factors into consideration before we decide on what is fair and reasonable before the law. The book is by Iris Marion Young. I think it was published in 1990-ish, but I'm only getting around to it because it's linking into ideas that I'm developing for Volume 2 of The Grace of Uncertainty, coming to a bookstore near you. No, I am working on Volume 2, though, and where it lands is basically saying if we want to move forward as a pluralistic society, we can't be moving towards a MAGA version of reality. We can't be moving towards a white Christian nationalism. We can't even be moving towards a Christian only, as in park the 10 Commandments at the front of your high school, as they do in Texas, and expect that to have some kind of impact on social justice. So we're talking about applying principles and ethics that transcend faith, that transcend color of skin, that transcend abilities, inabilities, challenges, and makes society work for, I was going to say most people. I think that's what I want to say. Most people at once. How many? A rising tide floats all boats. Can we find a system of justice that takes into account all the vagaries of a pluralistic democracy and treats people fairly according to the law? So that's, I'm coming at it from probably a place in education where educational theory is pretty much the same. And a mantra that we used to use in special education services is that what is necessary for some, as in classroom modifications, as in individual learning plans, that kind of approach to tailoring education to the individual is really necessary for some just to get by, just to level the playing field. While it is necessary for some, it is good. The techniques, the tactics used, the strategies implemented are good overall. Good pedagogy for all. And so that framework sort of speaks to me through this book, The Politics of Difference. We are not the same, and the playing field is not level. Some people have inherited wealth. Some people have inherited status. Some people, like Trump, there's a book that my son-in-law was showing me where it talked about the lucky strikes of Trump. that he was rich by luck, not by determination or skill. And luck has something to do with it. But when we talk about justice, we're talking about luck maybe as in, why is it that some people with money escape the full treatment before the law, whereas the prisons are occupied by visible minorities and by the poor? Sure, there's white-collar crime that shows up, but it's very not represented in the prison populations in the United States. So these things are worth considering. How do we make justice for all? And I throw out and reject the principle of equality before the law because it is not equal if we're not starting with an equality. So we have to get to the equal place where everyone in society is treated the same, given the same opportunities, which is what, dare I say it, DEI is all about, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That we have to start creating a level playing field. And I am reminded that while I speak these words, the Trump administration is busy going along, rewriting history and making it look as though slavery was not a bad, evil thing that it was, and that blacks were given a reasonable leg up in society. After all, slavery was a working opportunity. What? Yeah, this kind of discussion goes on in the Republican. And I'm reminded that Republican is a word that derives from the Latin, which means belongs to the people. The Republican Party, the Republic of the United States, belongs to the people? What? That's not what you see in the news. That's not what you see in the files of people being arrested. That's not what you see at all. So where is the equality and justice for all in the American Constitution? I don't know, but it seems like it's worth pursuing, worth talking about, and the book is worth including in a discussion. Justice and the Politics of Difference by Iris Marion Young. Worthwhile, and I'm just going to give you just a bit of a synopsis about it because it impacts my thinking on where I'm going in my own volume 2. So this is the way that the book could be summarized, and I will give it in this. Number 1, it is a critique of distributive paradigms. And in this case, Marion Young argues that the mainstream theories of justice treat justice as a statistic or math problem, how to fairly, equitably divide wealth, income, material resources among individuals in the society. And she claims that this paradigm fails at every instance because it treats non-material goods like power, opportunity, self-respect as if they were a static physical object that can be mathematically added up, subtracted, divided, multiplied, ignoring that all of these things are actually relational between people. And it masks the underlying institutional context, the division of labor, decision-making processes that produce the inequality in the first place. It doesn't even tackle those divisions. So that's the main critique that it begins with. And then it has the 5 faces of oppression, which she wants to see dealt with in some fashion. And she wants to redirect all these conversations about structural justice towards these 5 distinct faces, is what she calls them. Number 1, exploitation, that there is a systemic transfer of the energies of one group to benefit another group. And that's rooted in the whole idea of capitalism and the labor structure. Those on the bottom give their labor and it goes up. The wealth that they generate in their labor is transferred to another group, the group of owners. Number 2, marginalization. The expulsion of specific groups from useful participation in society and economic life renders them potentially dependent and disposable. Whoa, does that sound like our gig economy today? You don't get the right rating, you get dropped. You don't. I like the movie with Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen, and he plays Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen plays a capitalist owner who basically does nothing and collects his money on the backs of the laborers. And he gets an opportunity to switch roles and see what it's really like to be on the bottom end of society. And it's a good lesson. So that goes along with point number 3, powerlessness. The lack of authority, the lack of status, the lack of decision-making power that forces people to take orders without exercising creativity or judgment. That becomes a problem as well. Well, there are 2 more, and maybe we'll get to them a little bit later, but the book that's impacting my thoughts now are Justice and the Politics of Difference. Jim and Terry Show, signing out. Bye-bye. It's complicated, this relationship I have with my morning coffee. It's from the way that